Now, one of the main issues in the upcoming European elections is climate change. It's something that younger people feel especially passionate about. And for the first time, 16-year-olds will be eligible to vote here in Germany and in Austria. Now, in the last EU elections, Green parties had their best showing ever, largely attributed to climate protests that had taken place across the continent. They picked up 71 seats in the EU Parliament. But since then, there's been something of a backlash against certain Green policies. According to an organisation called Europe Elects, Green parties are forecast to win just 54 seats in this vote. Now, DW's Rosie Burchard is having a closer look now at the frustration felt by many young Green Party supporters here in Germany.
It was dubbed the Green Wave. In 2019, mass climate protests across the continent helped propel more Green politicians than ever before towards seats at the European Parliament. But fast forward 5 years, and these protests against green farming rules are the ones making most headlines. And Germany, the stronghold of green politics in Europe, is now also the heartland of a so-called green backlash.
We used to vote for the Greens, but those days are definitely over. They didn't take citizens into consideration.
Their political focus is really on ecological issues, not on social ones.
With European elections approaching, Green candidates at this rally in southern Germany say climate-friendly policies are becoming a tougher sell.
It's the existential question of our time. We can no longer talk about prosperity and security and remain silent about the climate crisis. However, we Greens must be aware in some areas we've moved a little too quickly.
Over the past 5 years, the European Union has rolled out a raft of world-leading laws aimed at slashing emissions, from ramping up renewable energy targets to a planned phase-out of combustion engine cars. Green parties have helped drive this unprecedented transformation, but now they're expected to lose seats in bloc-wide elections.
In 2019, climate change was really important, according to Eurobarometer data. This time, it's cost of living, it's peace and the war in Ukraine that is more in the voters' minds. Probably a lot of the losses will come from Germany, but we also have other countries like Ireland where we currently see some losses for the Greens.
Green parties may make some breakthroughs in Central and Eastern Europe, but as more mainstream parties try to claw back votes from the reaches of the far right, analysts warn future Green policies may be the first up for compromise.
The mood has changed, so also the centrist parties are perhaps not that enthusiastic anymore about pushing forward with the European Green Deal. I wouldn't see a big danger that lots of things that have been agreed upon over the past term would be dismantled. But the climate crisis is such that we need further policies. So that might become more difficult to actually push forward.
The EU's executive insists it's committed to keeping climate policy on track, and polls show many voters, especially the young, still have an appetite for green rules in principle. But putting them into practice is proving politically complex. And now voters will decide if 2019's green wave will be reduced to a trickle.
I'd like to welcome Jutta Paulus. She's a member of the Greens in the European Parliament, where she serves on the Environment, Public Health and Food Safety Committee. Welcome to DW, Ms. Paulus. It's good to have you with us. We heard in that report a voter complaining that the Greens focus too much on environmental rather than social issues. What do you say to that? Does he have a point?
Well, I think we Greens are depicted as looking only at the ecological angle, while at the end of the day, it is not true. I mean, I have negotiated quite a few legislations around the Green Deal, and we Greens have always pushed for including social issues in those laws. For example, the Social Climate Fund, which is in the emissions trading scheme, would not have been there had we Greens not insisted on having it in. Same goes for the Energy Efficiency Directive, where I have fought with claws and teeth for including a paragraph that member states have to focus on the financially neglected groups when it comes to energy efficiency measures. So we are doing a lot, but we are being depicted as not caring, and this is rather a pity.
OK, so green policies, or what you're saying is that people have the wrong picture of what the Green Party and their policies are about, because people also think that green policies ask them to make sacrifices, you know, eat less meat, drive less, don't fly. And many people say, well, I'm not willing to make so many sacrifices, or I don't know why I should. What would you say to them to change their minds?
Well, I mean, right now, we in the Western world, so to speak, are using the resources as if we had 3 planets, but we only have one. So it is quite obvious that our habits could not be copied by all the world's population. On the contrary, if we want to be fair towards our fellow human beings on this planet, we should cut down in our resource use, because we cannot find another planet where to grow plants to feed all the animals we're currently eating. So at the end of the day, it's really a matter of survival. And I think depicting it as being a sacrifice actually draws the wrong picture, because if you talk to the people in southern Germany, you had it in your feature right now, they really have sacrificed a lot. They have sacrificed their homes. Some have even sacrificed the lives of their dear ones. And this is something which we all should try to avoid. I think the point is we should make it easier to do the sustainable way and not make it harder, like having people look at very tiny letters on their food in order to find out, am I eating sustainable, or am I eating something that is actually deploying the resources of this planet?
Mm-hmm. I wanted to talk to you about these polls from across Europe that are showing that younger voters are now increasingly being drawn to more right-wing parties. What is it, in your opinion, that those parties are getting right that the Greens might not be?
Well, I think what we neglected is looking at the way how the far right has captured the social media, especially TikTok. Me as an MEP, I wasn't even allowed to use TikTok because all the data is going to China, which is not a very friendly regime, to be very honest. And of course, the AfD, which is the German far-right party, didn't care about this rule, and they have employed a lot of people that are actually feeding this algorithm, which is reacting to polarizing content. That is part of the truth. Another part is it's always easier to believe the convenient lie instead of looking at the inconvenient truth. And also, I think it is, at least in Germany, when I was a young person, it was, let's say, the normal way to be against those that are in government. We Greens are in government, and we did not deliver on everything we hoped to deliver on because this coalition is terribly different. So I think these are all the factors that are being mixed together right now.
Jutta Paulus, member of the European Parliament and of the Green Party, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.